My chapter is about organizing the speech, and briefly it's about how to use main points and how to organize them and provide sub-points. So use main points to make your claim, and purpose and thesis statements are guides. Specific purpose is the goal of the speech, and central idea of speech is also important. Restrict the number of main points. Research has shown that audience can comfortably take in only between 2 and 7 main points. Restrict each main point to a single idea. Save the best for last or first. Listeners have the best recall of main points made at the beginning and the end of the speech. Use supporting points to make your claim. Supporting points represent supporting material or evidence you have gathered to justify your main points. Organizing is time well spent. Don't skip on organizing speech points. Listeners have understand better if the speech is directly linked to how well it's organized. Principles of organizing the speech are unity, coherence, and balance. Use transitions to give direction to the speech. Transitions are words, phrases, and sentences that tie the speech ideas together, enabling the speaker to move smoothly from one point to another. Use previews and summaries as transitions. Previews are transitions that tell audience what to expect next. In speech introductions, a preview statement briefly introduces the main points of the speech. Within the body itself, internal previews can be used to alert audience members to a shift from one point or idea to another.
So once you've decided on the main points for your speech, you're going to want to figure out a way to organize it. There are a bunch of different ways, about 12 ways to do it, but our book discusses 7 of those ways. If you're talking about sequential events, then you're going to want to use a chronological pattern of organization. If your speech describes physical arrangement, places, or certain objects, then you're going to want to use a spatial pattern of organization. If your speech is explaining a cause and effect, then you're going to use the causal pattern. If your speech is talking about a problem and you have a definite solution, then you're using the problem-solution pattern of organization. If your main points are of equal importance, then you're going to turn to the topical pattern of organization. And if you're just telling a story where it has a beginning, a middle, and an end, you're going to use the narrative pattern of organization. If your speech is discussing reasoning, then where it's if this, then that, you're going to use a circular pattern of organization. So these are the 7 patterns: chronological, spatial, causal, problem solution, topical, narrative, and circular.
So my section was outlining the speech. I have some quick tips that you can use to help you transition from a working outline to a speaking outline. So first we're going to start with the working outline. The purpose of it is to organize and firm up main points, and using the information you collected to develop supporting points to substantiate them. In a working outline, you'd want to use full sentences. The reason for that is because once you start transforming your working outline into a speaking outline, you want to already have an idea of what you're going to say. So some steps that you can use in creating a working outline is write out your topic, general purpose, specific speech purpose, and thesis. Can establish your main points. Supposedly around 2 or 5 would be best, 2 through 5. Flesh out your supporting points. You want to be able to describe, or how should I say, support your main topic. You can label and write out your transitions, add a reference list, and give the speech a title. Once you have your completed working outline, you can start to create your speaking outline. The speaking outline is what you will use while giving a speech. Instead of having every written sentence down on a piece of paper in front of you while giving your speech, you will have key words that'll help you recall information that you will convey to your audience. There are a few different ways to prepare the speaking outline. Some people like to use note cards, while other people just use keywords. Aside from outlining the speech, you need to practice your speech. Practicing with the written outline, and then transitioning to a speaking outline will overall help your performance while speaking. Thank you.
So my section is section 15, developing the introduction and conclusion. I have like a couple of tips for you guys. There's a checklist for guidelines for preparing the introduction. Usually you want to do your introduction after you do the whole body, so it's easier for you to figure out what your main idea is. Keep the introduction brief, so maybe no more than 10 to 15% of the body of the speech. Practice delivering your introduction until you feel confident enough that you've got it right. First, you're going to want to gain the audience's attention, so a quote or tell a short story, pose questions like rhetorical questions that you can ask, or you can say something startling, use humor, anything of that sort. So you're going to want to preview the main points of your body to give them just a little insight of what you're actually going to be talking about. And at the end of your introduction, you're going to want to motivate your audience to accept your goals and make the topic relevant to the listeners so that they are actually interested in what you're talking about. Okay, and then next would be preparing the conclusion. You're going to want to signal to the audience that the speech is coming to an end and provide some type of closure. You're going to want to summarize the key points, reiterate the topic and speech purpose, challenge the audience to respond, and end the speech memorably. To signal the close of the speech and provide closure, you can use phrases such as finally, or looking back, or in conclusion. Basically reiterate what you said in your introduction, phrase it in a different way so it provides some type of closure. And again, challenge the audience to respond and get them to think about what you said and make the speech memorable. Like a good closer would be, you could use a quote again or finish up the story that you told in the beginning.
Hi, my part was part 4, number 16, which was called using language. In the back of that portion, there was a checklist on how to use language effectively. So that's what basically the portion was about. So I'm going to go over that with you. The first one is use easy words, easy to follow sentences, and straightforward signage. Meaning you want to help the reader see what you're trying to say. You want to root out basic language, such as you don't want to talk about religious characteristics because there might be people in the room that aren't in that religion. You want to avoid unnecessary jargon, meaning I have one example here. Peggy Newman said that good, hard, simple words with good, hard, clear meanings are good things to use when you speak. Use fewer words than more words to express your thoughts. Make striking comparisons with similes, metaphors, and analogies, such as a simile. The old woman's hands were as soft as a baby's. Metaphor, education is like an uphill climb, and the US is like a melting pot. You want to use active voice, such as you want to state what the subject performs in the action, not stating passive meaning. Meaning you don't want to say something passive saying, I took my history test last weekend. You want to probably say, last weekend I took an exam. You want to repeat words, phrases, or sentences in various intervals. which is called anaphora, such as Martin Luther King Jr. He used the repeated phrase, I have a dream. So you want to say, I have a dream, blah, 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 I have a dream. And that kind of pulls the audience's focus on you more because they'll be more interested. And experiment with alliteration, meaning words that repeat the same sounds using initial consonants in two or more neighboring words or syllables. So for an example, I have here Jesse Jackson. He said, down with dope, up with hope. So you kind of leave your listeners with a lasting impression. And the last one is experiment with parallelism, meaning arranging words, phrases, or sentences in a simple form. So say I'm going to do an essay about the people. So I would do it of the people, by the people, and for the people. Thank you.